Hello again, it's time for another project. Today we're going to do some scroll saw work on this recycled pine, which is half an inch thick. The actual Leopard itself is 28 inches by 21, so it's a good size. As always, I will be putting painter's tape on here. We'll spray some glue, stick the template down, and then we'll drill pilot holes into all the black sections, because obviously we have to feed the blade through before we can get it on our scroll saw. Like I just said, it is recycled. There's nails on this, it's been cut off, there's pins down the side. On the reverse of this, if I can just show you quickly, there is a lot of holes. Obviously some kind of shelving must have been there at one time. Just about to see that there. But that's going to be on the back, and hopefully that won't interfere with what we're trying to do. So before we start anything, I will literally just sand this down, tidy it up, remove all the pins and nails, and then we'll come back once I've stuck on the template onto our builder's tape, and then we'll start drilling out pilot holes into every one of the black sections. Right, you can see from that, we sanded down our wood, we put on our painter's tape, we glued down the template, we've drilled our pilot holes, over 200 of those roughly, so that's 200 times. I'm going to have to change these adapter clamps on mine, because my scroll saw is so old, that's the only way I can use pinless blades, and that will hook underneath the clamp at the bottom and hook over the top once we've threaded it through one of these pilot holes. So I will have to do that over 200 times. Your normal blades, your pin blades, you obviously can see they've got a pin on the end like that, both sides. They will literally hook onto a hook, the top and bottom, and tension them up. Downside to pin blades, you've got to have a big hole to feed them through. Now on most of these you would get away with it, but when you're down to these little pinhead ones here, you're not going to fit them through. So you've got to use pinless blades. And these are your pinless blades, really small. Obviously no pins on. They will also fit into a clamp like this. Or if you've got one of the newer version machines, there's a quick release switch at the top. And it's a lot better. But I'll struggle on. It's something I'm used to doing. The idea with these ones, this blade here, should I say, it's a spiral blade. These are ideal for this kind of project because you can cut from any direction. Front, back, left, right, it doesn't matter. There's no turning of the wood whatsoever, so we can basically just feed that along like that. Whereas if you use a straight blade with the teeth at the front, you're going to have to push your wood into it, then try and turn your wood, push into it, turn your wood, push into it. This piece is so big, you'll see on the scroll saw in a minute, you're not going to have the space to do that. So you've got to use a spiral blade. There's no way about it. And they do take some getting used to. I'm actually loving these now, to be honest. First hour, I was quite happy to throw them in the bin. But I've persevered with them. And we've had some nice projects with them. Okay, we'll set the spiral blade up through one of our pilot holes. And then try and get it onto the machine. And hopefully start cutting this one out. Right, just before we start cutting out, if I can just show you. And I will put this camera back on the tripod. I don't like too much of this moving about. My old Draper has what they call a 16 inch. That's it. So that's 16 inches from there to your blade. Some are 22s, some can go bigger and bigger. So basically 16 inches would be the maximum you could cut. We'll say 15 inches. Obviously if you had a straight blade, you can only push it into the blade each time. So when you come to turn, that's as far as you're going to get, because you're catching here. No matter which way you turn it round, you're going to have the same issue. I mean, we can see how big this piece is going to be. That's with straight blades. Whereas with spiral blades, you could have your 16 thick. You could turn it round and do 16 on this side, if that makes sense. So basically 30 inches plus is a piece, and ours is 26, was it 28? I don't know. With spiral blades, we can just feed it across like that, going from left to right, up and down, to take out our little section there. So spiral blade for sure. Right, we'll set this up. That's enough talking, and we'll try and cut some of this out. I might find later on, I might actually remove all this outer section if it's just getting too bulky for me. Normally, you do all your inner cuts first. The more you can leave on, the better. But I might have to cut this background off just to make it a little bit easier for me. Right, I'm going to go for plan B. It's quite bulky, is this? Just a bit too much. My workshop is so small, I'm struggling to move about. So I'm going to go and try and remove all the outside area first. Now, they don't normally recommend you do this, but I just haven't got the room to move. And I'm struggling a little bit, so I'm going to try and take away all that surrounding area. All this down here, just to give me a bit more space to work with. We'll try that now. Right, we've cut all the way around that. It's made it a lot easier, yet it's going to make it more difficult. Especially with the likes of the whiskers there, as you can see. They're just going to be a bit fragile now, so we're going to have to be a bit careful with those. Keep an eye on them. But it's definitely a lot better size. And this will let me just get it into my saw like so. And just go from left to right. And up and down that bit I want. There's none of this turning around with these spiral blades. So I can just stop on this. I've actually got, if I can just show you, a piece of wood. And that wedge is underneath here like so. And that's cut to the same height. And that just sits in nicely. And I will just nibble at it now. And come further and further across. Up, down, left or right. Whew! Right. Let's start taking out some more of the centre of this leopard. this one. This project has took me 5 months. I started this on the 4th of November. I've just checked my first little video that I did when I was actually sanding down the initial wood underneath. This has been one of those projects where it's more of a challenge than a joy. In the end, I just put it to one side and I did 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 projects in between. And over the last 3 days, I literally came back and thought, it's now or never. 2 or 3 times I was quite happy to put this in the bin. Been a lot of work. I bit off more than I could chew for sure. It's just too big for me. With my little old-fashioned Draper scroll saw in the corner there. Those adapter blades that you have to use. So to put the blade in, put the adapter on, clamp it to your saw, feed it underneath. I had blocks of wood lying around at one time just to rest it on when we were coming to these edges. I couldn't turn it, it was too big. I certainly bit off more than I chew, but I stuck with it and I've got it done. Couple of mishaps, you might remember in the video, the reason why I cut it out to make it a little bit smaller for me, that the whiskers might be a bit delicate, and obviously we've lost a couple of them, but we still have them, that's a good point. So we'll pop them back in there, whichever way they go round, when we come to put it on the backer. So nothing lost there. We won't be beaten, as they say. So right, we've gone all the way around. You can see we've cut it all out. Oh man, that was hard going. So if you have a project like this, do 10 holes, 15 holes, and walk away. Come back another day. Don't torture yourself. Anyway, all we got to do now is pull off this template with our nice blue tape there. It should come off fairly easy, hopes. And we'll clear it all down, get it to the wood underneath, and then we'll see what it looks like. I'll come back when it's all been pulled off. Okay, we've gone all the way around. We've peeled off that tape. Bit fiddly getting it off, but it doesn't leave anything behind. That's all nicely done on that side. You can see from that. So now it's just a quick general tidy up. I can just show you the back of this piece. And spiral blades, you tend to get a lot of this wispy stuff. Now some have been known just to use a little blowtorch and just burn them little bits off. I'm just going to go over with the sander, little mouse sander, and maybe a Dremel, and we'll get inside and generally just get rid of all these bits and bobs. And then we'll look at the backer and what we're going to actually apply this to. Right, I've sanded that up best I can, as far as I'm prepared to go, front and back. So it's nicely clear now. I'll just spin it round without catching anything. Okay, we get the general idea from that. Now the idea is to put a backer on this. So it's the same thickness. So it's going to be a good inch thick by the time it's both done. And then we'll paint the darker background and we'll see if this guy's going to stay like this, or he might end up getting painted as well. We'll see. Linseed oil might just darken it down a little bit. Anyway, the backer, I'm going to cut it out the same shape as a Leopard himself. And maybe just leaving half an inch, quarter of an inch lip all the way round. Now the way I do this is to simply get a washer. I'm actually using a grinding wheel off the Dremel. Where you'll place your pencil inside there and literally draw around the old project. And that should ideally give you the shape of the Leopard himself, plus that distance from there to there. Normally I would use a little washer out of a sanding drum, or any washer that you can find available. You'll work it out yourselves. So it will literally be a case of popping that pencil in there. I'm trying to do this. I'm struggling to fit this on this camera of mine, to be honest. And literally hold it up against your project. Get some clamps on if you want to, just stop it moving about. And we will literally just draw up like that. Going all the way up to the top. And just gently round these corners, these bends. And we'll follow that round like so. Keeping that pressed down firmly onto the backer. and slowly we'll go all the way around like so. Right, I've gone all the way around with the pencil and our little washer, so hopefully that's left us a little border and enough pencil line for us to draw on. I don't know if you can see it from there. So that's your actual shape. It's a good little size. Okay, I'll cut this out on the scroll saw and I'll come back when it's cut out. I won't show you that little bit because you've seen enough scroll saw work in this project. Okay, we can see from that the back is all done. I've shaped it round, I've curved them edges just to give it a little bit more shape. Now originally I was going to paint this black with a white leopard, but I'm quite liking the wood effect on this one. It's just cheap recycled pine, remember? So I'm going to leave the leopard as he is. But all I'm going to do is put on some of my boiled linseed oil, just to darken it down a little bit and do the side areas. These edges, should I say, along there. Now the backer, you could glue this down, dry bond, Gorilla Glue, wood glue. I've used resin in the past to glue it down, that all works fine. What I want to do on this occasion, and it's a trial and error thing, it might work, it might not work. If it don't work, we always have a plan B. I was just going to do all the backing with this mahogany varnish, cover that with the varnish itself, and then once the linseed is dry on this one, obviously, we'll stick the leopard head straight onto that piece, and hopefully the varnish will stick that down. You notice here we've repaired the whiskers, that's all in, so we'll put that down there. Got slightly a warp on it, so we'll have to clamp it down in place, and hopefully that varnish will stick it down. And the darkness of the mahogany will hopefully come through these holes and just let it stand out a little bit. Okay, I'll do the linseed and varnish, let it all dry, clamp it down, and then we'll come back when hopefully this project should be finished. Okay, that's it. We've removed all the clamps. This little project is finished. Now you can spray on a bit of varnish on there, bit of sealant stuff, just give it a little bit of shine. This is an indoor piece, so I'm quite happy just to leave this one as it is. The mahogany varnish, that worked fantastic for sticking this down with, as well as darkening the backer. The boiled linseed oil, that's done a nice job of just darkening that wood down. I'm happy I've done it this way. Originally it was going to be black and a white. So sometimes just let some of that wood shine through and this little project is finished. It's a good solid thick piece, you can see from there. So there's enough room to route out a groove in the back just for hanging purposes. And that's this one done. It took some doing, I'll be honest with you. I would have been quite happy just to walk away and leave it. I started this one in November and we're into April now, so, and I've done 15 projects in between. So do 10 holes, walk away, come back another day. It's not going to go off, it's not going to go rotten on you. It's always there when you're ready to start again. So there we have him, one leopard on recycled pine. It's 21 inches by 28. Scroll saw project. Thank you very much for watching.